Welcome to the Chico Creates podcast, where we interview local artists, musicians, and makers from here in Chico, California. I am your host, Kira Barsotti, and with me today is Michael Bone, who is a local artist and musician here in town. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
I traveled very far to get here.
Yes. Michael is a metric person. Metric is the production company I work with to make this podcast, the only way it is possible. And Michael's actually who connected me with you guys.
I work here.
Yeah.
This is nice. This is great. I get to get my eyes off a computer for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, anything you want to share about yourself? Tell us a little about yourself.
Well,
other than that you work at Metric.
I hope the interview does that as we go on.
For sure.
Nothing's popping in my head at the moment, though. I'm a clean slate.
Perfect. Well, that's great. We can start with how long have you lived in Chico?
I have lived in Chico since 2008. So however many years that is, 15.
Oh my God.
Years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What brought you here?
College. I came to college for music. I applied to 2 and I got into 1 and here I am.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I never left because I found a great community and I like the atmosphere around town. It's not too big, not too small.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to be myself and I could pay my rent. So
yeah, that's a huge plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I feel like we always talk about how great it is that we're like close to a lot of major cities, close enough at least, but then you don't have to pay those major city rents.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't even travel too often. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, you got everything you need here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's great.
Awesome. What did you study specifically?
I studied music recording, audio recording. So I learned all about microphones and music.
Perfect.
And everything. And I'm lucky that I kind of got to use my degree since then. I mean, I still do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to a microphone
exactly.
right now. So
yeah. You're
nice.
Still surrounded by recording and all of that.
Yeah. The whole time I was in school, I didn't think that would happen. I thought maybe I would go, build houses or something.
Yeah. No, so many people, like, I feel like the narrative is, oh, you never use what you went to school with or for, but
no, I got really lucky that I met some of my closest friends. Like, I feel like within the first couple weeks of school, and
awesome.
Not everybody's that lucky. So
yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know you've like been in a few local bands and things.
Oh yeah, still playing music.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much anymore, but there was a time when I was probably in 5 or 6 bands at once.
Nice.
Since becoming a parent, I've cooled that down, and a lot of people moved out of town. A lot of close musician friends. So not so much. I play music every day.
That's cool
for myself and for my kids, but
that's awesome.
I still play a little bit with Pat, who was on your show, and with Gavin, who's behind the curtain. Yeah, it's still nice to play out when I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's your instrument of choice?
Well, right now I've been playing drums with those guys, and I play bass as well, and with Max Minardi in town.
Oh, cool.
And I play, but neither of those were my original instrument. I learned guitar first and foremost, and then I play piano at home more than anything. I like to spread myself out real thin.
Yes, yeah.
I don't feel like I've quite mastered any one thing, but I'm just so interested in and engaged in all the different things that I can't just like not
try it all.
Try it all. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have an outlet for a little bit of each thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't get burned out.
Yeah, for sure.
And they all inform each other.
Totally.
As with painting too, and my art journey.
Yeah.
It all
and that
ties
was
in.
something I wanted to, of course, talk about too, is your painting, which seemed like a more recent thing
Yeah.
for you in your life.
Yeah, I sort of picked up sketching, like pencil drawing, probably like 2018 or 2019, and I got really into it, and I just thought it was fun to try to draw my friends, and they weren't very good, but it would make me laugh, and I just got obsessed with it, with the progress I was making. The next one would be better than the last, and then during 2020 and COVID, I just hit the ground running, and I did a painting sometimes twice a day, but at least one a day for a good year or more, and I still have kind of kept that up. I just became obsessed with color. I read every book at the library I could. I become obsessed with, any sort of YouTube video about painting. Especially the more nuanced and nerdy, the better for me. So, and just like I felt like after going to school for music and learning all these instruments and diving in, I've really hit a limit to where if I really wanted to get better at, say, piano, I'd have to spend a lot of time, which I still kind of do, but the returns weren't paying off as much. So I found somewhere where, every 10 hours I spent, I could really see an improvement, and that is attractive to me.
Yeah, for sure. And it really shows in your work. Like, I loved seeing you just explode into painting.
Yeah. It's nice. It's fun, because, when you're not very good, you don't know it. Like I still would share my things with people and they'd be like, good job. And then as I get, more accurate or exploring color, then as I level up, I get the feedback, and I get it still keeps it exciting, and every step along the way. It's
for
fun.
sure. Well, that's something that I like about art is, and I'm sure there's a translation to music too, but you can become really proficient, and you can get really good at like capturing exactly what you're seeing, but then you can go off in like a completely different direction and get really experimental with it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, what I was aiming for early on, I learned was not the way. And then it's like every time I think I know what I'm doing, I've tried to like not give advice, because I've learned like a month later I regret that advice I gave to somebody.
Sure.
And like, that's actually not that's not the main focus that you should be. And it just keeps happening where I think I know what I'm going for, and then through exploration I'm like, oh wait, it's actually this, slightly to the side. I can point to like a specific portrait I did where I just broke through some kind of glass ceiling and realized like color is the most important thing to me.
Right.
And before that I was more concentrated on like drawing something correctly, and like my
proportions.
Exactly. And even the order of operations and how I approach a painting has completely changed. Like it's almost exact opposite of when I first started.
Yeah.
As far as like, order of what I'm trying to do. So yeah, that's fun too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And recently I've been skateboarding a lot, and it's the same journey as all the others. A little bit more painful.
Yeah.
But
it's a little more physically
but the same
treacherous.
thing where, a year ago I could ride around, and I had done that since I was a teenager, but I realized like, oh, wait, if I just put my mind towards it and do it a bunch, like I can learn these different things that I wasn't able to. And that's fun too, because it's not, I mean, just like art and music, if there's not like a goal, like, being successful in it isn't a goal. It's sort of harder to explain why it's fun and why they're all very solitary.
Yeah.
I don't have, somebody that comes and paints with me, or somebody that comes and skates with me, or not even too much people to play music with at this moment.
Currently.
So, they're all just kind of, I don't know what the point is, but I just keep doing it and I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think like it seems like to you what really appeals is seeing your own improvement.
Yeah, that's a part of it for sure. It's like it's not necessarily looking back and seeing the improvement. It's like what
the
else
next
can
thing?
I do?
Yeah.
What's where what's something cool I can learn that just excites me and,
Yeah.
makes me feel electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I mean, that's a great reason to do anything.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, once your basic needs are met, what else is there to life?
It's like reading a book. I was just reading last night thinking about that. Like, I'll look for like how many pages till the next chapter when I get to like see what's in that chapter. And it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to really like projects where I could do a little bit at a time, and then like a month later look at everything and like, wow, I did all these things. When no step along the way seemed very difficult, but it's just the doing and doing and doing that cumulatively creates something really cool.
Yeah.
And there's something really satisfying in that.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to try to, my first artworks were just trying to put as many little details as I could. And then like finally looking back and like, whoa, that's a big drawing with a lot of little things in it.
Yeah, yeah.
None of any one little thing isn't like impressive or well done, but like as a whole, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, there's definitely something to be said for small steps, like consistently taken, can make a huge impact over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is a great way to start our first episode of the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just a little bit at a time. It's
Yeah.
same thing, exercising is the same thing. I
Totally.
feel like anything you can approach with that way and it makes it less intimidating.
And a lot more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. A lower barrier to entry.
Exactly. I could lift this thing 5 times today and maybe I can do it 6 times tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty simple, but it works.
It totally works.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I've seen the most of like my own growth too, just with art and everything is, even just doing one mark on a canvas is what keeps me moving forward sometimes.
I'm obsessed with things like trying to touch my toes. Like every day I get a little closer. And then like once you can touch your toes, and it's like, if I can touch my toes, then maybe I can do the splits. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what is your favorite local spot or place to hang out in town?
Favorite spot to hang out? Wow. Well, I mean,
could be for multiple.
Yeah. I live on a corner, and I've like skateboarded on that corner every single day for the last year and a half. And I've like grinded down that curb, and my neighbors probably don't like it, but there's something special about like my whole block. I'll ride and like walk my dog around it, and I have like the high school there, and I have a church, and I kind of it feels like my personal like little adventure park. And like to anybody else it's just a random neighborhood, but there's something special about like nobody else even enjoys this. Like it's just a regular sidewalk. I don't see anybody else out there like enjoying this like random little stretch of concrete. Yeah. But there's something about like seeing the little things essentially. It's like, wow, I know every crack in this sidewalk. I know all these. And so I think like just literally my block, for as unimportant as it may seem, I kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, it's hard because I want to like show it off to people, but nobody would care or like even know like why that's fun. But there's like, I know where like the sidewalk kind of ramps up a little bit, and like I look forward to that when I'm riding around that spot. Yeah. And it's just, thousands of times doing this. Just last night it was pouring rain, and I drove over to a little overhang and just skateboarded like in the one little spot where it was dry for probably an hour. And I was like, yes, fine, I got my little spot. Yeah. Nobody else is out here. Like there's not one person in this whole outside, but here I am. Yeah. Yeah, I feel a little bit nuts sometimes when I do these things, but that's also a little satisfying. It's the coming from playing kind of weirdo music and stuff, I still got that in me where I want to, I just kind of like the outsider mentality. Yeah. And kind of a little like, I don't care what everybody else thinks.
Yeah. Have your own little world.
Exactly. Yeah. I enjoy that. So other than that, I don't know. Local spots, I don't like go downtown very much anymore. And
how about a favorite place to paint? You do a lot of plein air painting.
Oh yeah. I have a backpack that I have like custom made and with all my paints and stuff, oil paints. And I'll go hiking. A lot of times I'll just bike over the bike bridge near my house to like Verbena Fields or somewhere around there, somewhere close to the house, Upper Bidwell, of course. Yeah. One of my favorite spots is near Wildwood Park. There's the vernal pools, sort of towards this direction. Yeah, it's kind of an alien feeling world that the geology is totally different from anywhere in Chico.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird ravine.
Yeah. That's like the ditch that's behind the neighborhoods.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's a big ditch.
Yeah. There's like birds there. There's
all
animals.
Kinds of stuff going on
it's
down
wild,
there. Yeah.
And nobody's. It's sort of hidden. You know, you don't see people over there.
Yeah.
I like that spot.
Yeah, that's
cows.
Cool. Yes, and there are some cows.
Yeah. I did a music video for Pat there where we just like kind of hiked around.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's very cool. So musically, kind of what are you drawn to stylistically as far as playing or listening?
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the music I listen to, it doesn't really represent the style I make.
Which is interesting in itself.
Yeah. I mean, some does. Last night I was really enjoying some just sort of atmospheric music. It depends on the mood, but lately it's been sort of a contemplative, slower songs. Growing up, I was just obsessed with. I didn't listen to music with words for a long time, just like instrumental, post-rock.
I did a lot
stuff.
of soundtracks.
Yeah, and I've kind of been leaning more into that lately. Just things that are pretty, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I always like the slowest song on an album.
Yeah,
but it depends. Sometimes I'm more hyped up and I'll listen to rap music. And, or actually, when I'm at the gym, it's pretty much just punk music now.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's perfect for working out.
Yeah, I like more distortion, and I like playing that kind of music too.
Yeah,
but, man, yeah, I love harmonies and jazz, and there was a long period where like the more complex the better for me, and the more like out there and things that kind of made me wonder how they even conceived of it.
Yeah,
and that's what I was really drawn to, and I still kind of enjoy that too.
Yeah.
And where the band is all completely locked together in a way that I don't know how they would practice.
Yeah, to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as what I'm making lately, I've been just drawn to reading like classical music because, again, like I said, like I started and I could read like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and now I can kind of get through a Bach piece slowly, and like the progression of it just feels good on my brain to be able to see some notes and then like play them correctly,
right?
Like almost like Guitar Hero or something,
right.
Like you see the notes coming by, and like every time I get a little higher score.
That's awesome.
That's how it feels.
Yeah, that's very cool.
But lucky to have learned to read music and charts, so I can play with people like on a whim, and I developed my ear pretty good, so I can like if I can hear something on the radio, I can sit down and play it on the piano.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. So it's nice like to have music as like a an item, like a thing I can just
another medium.
Yeah, exactly. I can just use it for my own pleasure, and I don't have to put too much like effort into it at this point. It's just kind of something.
It's a good feeling.
Something I can something I can just sit down and do, like reading a book or playing a video game or something. Instead, but I still try to sit down and do my scales as much as I can. Though without the dream of like, oh, I'm gonna be in a band, or with like there's not too much pushing me to get too much better, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I'll go and practice piano, which is like, I don't have a keyboard or anything. I'm never going to play for anybody, really. Or maybe I will. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You never know.
Yeah. And like I said, learning one thing makes me better at other things.
Totally.
So that's what I've really learned. Even from music to art to skateboarding to parenting, like they all slightly improve.
You learn lessons from each that apply to the others.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even just patience and knowing to take things step by step or like,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I don't think it's a waste of time to learn any little thing.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like your kind of music path has paralleled your art path, where you're like, you find yourself interested in different things at different times and deciding, well, not only like the role it plays in your life, but what matters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
With art, I've landed on oil painting and I haven't really looked back. I mean,
did you start with oil or?
No, I started like pencil sketching and pen for years, but just kind of passively. And then I got really into watercolor for a bit, but I've got really shaky hands, and there was just something about the medium that requires a precision.
A lot
and
of precision,
and a care. Then I did acrylics because I taught at a school, and that's just what we had.
Yeah.
But then I think it was like the Open Studios tour. I saw this. It was a neighbor of mine had an open house, and he did oil paintings, and they were just landscapes. And I just really looked closely, and I was like, I think I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just fell in love with it, and it was not easy, but every painting would get a little bit better. And there's something about the fact that not many people do it that was also attractive to me. Like there's an intimidation factor to oils for most people.
That's why I have never gotten into it.
Yeah. But now that I know it, I think it's so much easier than anything. It's easier than pen for drawing. It's easier than any other medium, I think.
Yeah.
There's just like this allure and barrier to entry that's kind of, I don't know if society made it up or something, or like put it on a pedestal.
I think it's totally a pedestal. It's totally like, but you gotta, you can't just wash your brushes with water. You gotta get this other stuff. There's like extra steps and the dry time. Like these are all the barriers in my head as to why I haven't gotten into it.
That's why I like teaching it. I did teach a little bit of private classes, and I'd like to in the future because it's like, no, I'll show you like at least how I do it. I think I figured out a way that's like, at least for me, works really nicely, and it's fun and it's so physical, and like you got like animal hair on a stick, and then you've got like ground up pigment, and like linseed oil, essentially. It just feels very ancient in a way. And even like the canvas you're painting on, a lot of times I'll just use panels that I gesso or whatever. There's something really raw about it, and it's messy, and I like getting messy. All of my clothes have some paint on it. And it's even just like, I'm able to bring a backpack with all that stuff in it. So it's not like you don't need a studio right now.
Right.
Building out my garage, but I've been painting in the corner of a bedroom for the last year. I had it in the kitchen a few months ago. But once you get used to the materials, then it's not that.
That's how it was when I finally switched to acrylics, because I did watercolor forever with some colored pencil, and I just needed someone to show me, no, these are the good acrylics to use. Don't use Liquitex or whatever. These are the acrylics. These are the brushes. Go to town. And that's all I needed.
And I like acrylics too, and finding the specialty of each medium is very fun. I carry a sketchbook with me everywhere, and I pretty much strictly draw with pen, just like a micron pen. And that's like the opposite, where like you draw something and it's there forever. And that's just my kind of, it's like the gym for me. Like I practice drawing what's in front of me, and that makes me better at painting.
Those
painting
are
is
your
just
art
drawing.
Scales.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes they turn out well, but I don't share my pen drawings generally. I don't like, I have dozens and dozens of filled up sketchbooks that nobody's seen. Nobody probably ever will see. Maybe my kids when they're older will look through them, but probably even not that. There's too many. There's just too many.
Yeah.
I'm trying to date them now and write like what I'm doing a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
So that it's sort of like
More
a
of
photo album or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But generally it's just they're throwaways. I'm not precious with them. My kids draw all through them. I scratch them out.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they prep me for the paintings, which luckily I've been able to do for other people now.
Yeah, you've done several commissions at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that strictly before I started video editing here.
Yeah.
And I'm picking it back up this last few months. So
awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. I like doing commissions for people, and I like doing landscapes a lot. I tried doing some like abstract pieces, but that's just not how my brain works. It took me having a baby and like breaking my brain for me to be able to get into abstract. Yeah. I guess I just don't I don't feel the draw as much.
I totally didn't get it before either.
Whereas seeing something and trying to like recreate it, like what I'm seeing about it. Like, I like how the light's bouncing off that water.
Yeah.
How can I show somebody else how cool that is?
Exactly.
But also like do it correctly so that they,
can recognize it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the harder part.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that'll change.
Yeah.
At some point.
It's been the theme of your life, it seems.
Yeah. I'm trying to push it recently, push color especially.
Yeah.
One time I was sitting in the dark and looking really carefully just at like this plant. And then, in the dark you don't see much color. But after staring at something for a while, you start to see these vivid like undertones, like really bright blues or reds or purples. And then I thought like, oh, that's the point of painting. Like it's seeing, it's not a physical color that exists, but it's not something I'm making up either. It's something that like something between my eye and my brain is like glitching or like something's happening. Yeah. But I'm seeing it clear as day. Person next to me might not see it unless they looked really closely, or maybe they wouldn't see it at all. But the point for me is showing other people what's happening in my eyes, essentially.
Yeah. And capturing some essence of it that you're perceiving.
Yeah, it's not like the way I see things in like this foo-foo like way. Right. It's like literally this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And I'm pointing that out to you.
Right. But it only it takes learning how to see and using your eyes and relaxing your eye muscles and that like technical stuff is really what I really love.
Right. And then being able to then translate that onto the canvas. Yeah. That's where the magic happens.
Yeah. If you look at like Monet's work, he would like shake his whole body and like really, if you see his pictures of him working, like his whole face is completely relaxed because you have to like, you can't strain to see color. You have to kind of like let it.
Yeah. Unfocus a little bit.
And he's not like making up those purples and blues that he puts in his shadows. Like they're there. But it's learning how to see and what to see. And it takes a lot. Yeah. I've probably done 3,000 paintings in the last couple of years.
Dang.
And like maybe the last 100 of them have included that element into them, and even maybe the last like 50 have that are like starting to get closer to what I'm trying. They're starting to work for me, and I'm sort of proud of them. Though actually every painting I do, I'm like on to the next one. Like, let's not let's just get this out of here. But people like them, and people keep buying them, so I'll just keep doing them. So that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
I just price them so low that I don't have to keep them around.
Oh my gosh. Well, 3,000 of them. Yeah. It's like you're going to put them all.
Oh yeah. A lot of times I'll paint right over them or throw them away or gift them or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been going hard on them.
Yeah. And you work fairly small too, right?
Sometimes. Recently I've been going bigger. Anytime I get a commission, I'll order like a box of the size that the person wants.
Just to have the extra.
Yeah, so I have like a whole bunch of big ones now.
Oh, nice.
Recently,
I love
like
working big.
The size I'm anywhere from like 9 by 12 to 16 by 20. somewhere around that range.
Yeah,
Because that's like doesn't take me weeks to do.
Right.
Sometimes I'll do them in 2 nights. Yeah, because the bigger ones, like, just physically takes a while to get all that, and it'll look good from a distance. And then when I'm actually working, I'm like, I guess I got to keep going on this area. When I'm outside, I'm trying to get a little bit bigger, but I pretty much always do 8x10s. On the spot.
Well, the light changes so quick. You got to be able to move quick.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. It's like
so
a
the
sport.
smaller. Yeah, for sure.
Especially around sunset or sunrise, the colors change so drastically. That I've learned to not chase it, but then I have to like remember what the colors were.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But those are more, I look at those as practice as well for studio work. Because like sometimes the plein air paintings turn out well and they have like a certain realness to them that photography can't capture.
Right.
As
There's
far as
more
the color.
depth and stuff. Yeah.
But, I can't get super precise on the spot. But it's like learning, that's what color does in real life. And then I get a photo which has none of that. And I can kind of impart what I've learned in this.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It all kind of helps. And I think just learning music, and I did a lot of songwriting before I got into painting. And I think like learning balance and learning focus and all that has really helped too.
Yeah,
Where
for
somebody
sure.
that's just entering art that doesn't have a music background might not have that intuition to like, there needs to be contrast and there needs to be like too many artists, I think, try to paint the thing and try to get the thing looking right.
And get distracted by
yeah
details that aren't
I
important.
see so many people draw like with pencil drawing before they go to paint. And I feel like, to me, that's so it's missing the point to like try to draw something and then fill it in like a coloring book.
Right.
Whereas like if I try to paint it like as if I can blur my eyes sort of. I defocus my eyes and like get that just by scribbling, and then I like focus a little bit more, focus a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's like coming out of a fog.
Yeah.
I try to paint like I'm coming out of a fog.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case like a couple of years ago. I would have said the opposite. I'd be like, no, you got to get it right in charcoal first.
Yeah.
And then you got to like do a value study and do this, and like, because I was listening to some teacher.
Be very technical.
Yeah, exactly. And I've learned like, actually, it's relaxing more. And then you get a more precise and cooler looking painting, I think.
Yeah.
But everybody has a process.
Yeah, it's important. Everyone has a process, and sometimes the techniques are there for a reason, and it's good to know them to get those lessons and then be able to do your own thing with them.
Right. Yeah, like learning a face structure or something like that might help, even if I'm not using that now. It's probably somewhere in the back of my brain, like informing certain things.
Yeah. As you've said, like it all
you
kind
learn
of compounds, and for sure. Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah, I could just nerd out on things all day.
Yeah.
I try not to get too technical talking to people.
No, I mean, obviously, I love it. So people are here for the art talk. So, So, I mean, to close this out, do you have anything coming up that you're excited to share, or anything that?
I keep. I've been offered a few like shows, and I've had a couple around town, but I like can't amass a collection. Like people keep taking my paintings away.
Yeah.
So like I told myself I wanted to do a show maybe at like 1078 or something this year. And I keep painting paintings for it, but then somebody like offers me to buy it, and I'm like, well, why would I have a show to try to sell paintings when they're just so I don't know. I'm trying not to like plan anything. I'm just keep going. I paint every night. And I just go to the next thing. I'm out of photos almost of my own, so like I need to go take. I need to get. I was into photography for a long time, which like gave me a whole bunch of reference. But now I gotta like get out there and take more photos, so I have more things to paint. I don't know. I don't really have any plans, but I'm sure I'll do something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're a great follow on Instagram because there's always always stuff going on your account.
Yeah. I hope to just, keep improving and have something to show for it. And I would love to, if anybody listening wants to go paint together, because I want somebody to like nerd out.
A painting buddy. Yeah.
I feel like I have ideas to bounce off. I want to bounce ideas off of people, but sometimes it's very like isolated. It can be very isolating. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And I love that you're doing this, and I think that building a community around art is important. And I feel like an outsider in the art world. So it would be cool to like sneak my way in.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, now is as good a time as any to mention I do have, I call it an artist support group.
Oh, yes.
We meet usually on the second Monday of the month. January, it'll be the 3rd just because the holiday and everything. But we meet at my house.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're listening, just DM me at chico.creates on Instagram and I can give you the address. But yeah, it's just a place where we get together and talk about art and trying to sell art in Chico.
Yeah. So, it's not easy, but it's possible.
It totally is. Yeah. Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where we have the internet too. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you my secret. You just paint like an old lady, and old ladies will
buy your art. Yeah. You have cracked the code.
Old ladies love landscapes and they love their cats. So if you can paint those two things, then you're good to go. Everybody loves their cats.
Oh yeah, I love my cats for sure.
Yeah, I just like an hour ago, somebody bought a painting of his cat.
Oh, nice.
And I gave it to him, and he wasn't an old lady.
It's not all old ladies.
It was an old cat, though.
That's awesome. Well, anyways, where can people find you on Instagram?
Well, I do have an Instagram, and it's at @bone_maker. I didn't want to be too specific with what I was making. I also have a website, which is bone, which is my last name, bone-made.com, like homemade kind of.
Yeah. Awesome.
My name was taken, so.
Oh, dang.
There is a Michael Bone art collector online.
Oh,
and
interesting.
That's not me.
Yeah. You're a Michael Bone artist.
Yes, exactly. Just look for the one that looks dorkiest. That's me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you can find everything going on with Chico Creates on Instagram at chico.creates. And we will see you around town.
Bye-bye.